Hey, did you watch Adam Something's video about Warhammer 40k? I did, and I'm going to have to switch to some gameplay footage for this because no one wants to sit here and watch a video of a still image on the screen with subtitles. So if you don't mind, mate, go for it. That's better. Also, the gameplay footage is Mirror's Edge because it's a fun game to have in the background, but I digress. So, I don't think he understands why people like the Imperium of Man. I mean, I don't disagree that the Imperium of Man is evil, because it is. But so is every other faction. There is no objectively good faction in the setting. Everyone is at least some kind of bastard. But that's why people find it so fun, because it's so extreme that it just comes back round to being silly again. But what makes the Imperium so endearing to so many people is that it showcases individuals bending and breaking the rules underneath the zealous boots of the Imperium. The Imperium is evil, but the human spirit is inherently not. There are so many good examples showing this to be true. Look at Necromunda, for example, where each house gang tries to resist the Imperium without going full traitor. And of course there's other moments like how in the Emperor's Gifts where it shows off the Space Wolves defending some Imperial Guard against the Inquisition, which is also known as the Month of Shame, and also the Catachan, which will kill off any commissar that will try and discipline their mates. And here is a fun Necromunda fact for you. Necromunda is one of the few planets in the Imperium that can tell the Inquisition to fuck off, because Necromunda is a vital planet for making weapons, troops, and other equipment, and any interference from the Inquisition could slow that process down. So Necromunda works with the Imperium, but not entirely for the Imperium, if that makes sense. Can you not ramble about Necromunda, please? Oh, fine, I guess. And I am aware that these acts of humanity is so small when compared to the overwhelming evil that the Imperium needs to commit. But isn't that the point? Humanity is trapped in a cruel, bloody regime, yet despite that, they still hold on to their ever-decreasing capacity of doing something good, or even noble in some cases. And this can apply to other factions as well, because nearly every faction is capable of doing something good, even though their main goal is to murder, or enslave, or worse. And if it didn't have these small snippets of goodness, then Warhammer 40k would be completely nihilistic, and it would get incredibly stale. Hang on, why do you say nearly every faction? Tyranids just treat the universe as a big old buffet, and I don't think they ever spared anyone deliberately. Though, if I'm wrong, then please let me know. That is true, but now is not the time, Tiny Tyrannid. This video is a mess. I ain't too good at response videos, and this is the first one I scripted, so this might be a bit rough. However, the idea that Space Marines are just mindless, psychotic drones is just wrong. Space Marines are incredibly complex, all with their own conflicting ideas and morals that make them painfully human despite them being built like fridges on legs. It's genuinely quite interesting seeing the Space Marines either resist the many horrors that they face, or see them fall into the trappings of chaos or their own failings. It balances bleakness with hope, and that's what makes Warhammer 40k such an interesting setting. At least to me, anyway. Another thing I want to suggest to Adam is that he should play Darktide, because you are a mere prisoner turned guardsman fighting through the Underhive, and you are always one wrong move away from a sudden bolt round to the back of the head. It's a fun game, and it does a great job of environmental storytelling, and it shows that you are just a mere cog in the massive Imperium machine. And that also doesn't give a shit whether or not you live or die. And I heard great things about Rogue Trader, but I haven't played it yet, which is a shame because I've been too busy building my Necromunda gang and buying more Death Guard models. And oh, did you see the new detachment for Death Guard? It looks quite fun. Don't get distracted, mate. Why did you bring up Darktide? I think you would enjoy Darktide more than Space Marine 2, because Space Marine 2 apparently doesn't portray the Imperium as evil enough for his liking. And that Titus is apparently, well, I have to show you what he said because it's a bit of a reach. I'm sure it can't be that bad.
So your character, Titus of the Ultramarines, is doing the good thing really. He's a protagonist. He's also a brainwashed space Nazi psychopath, prepared to commit even the most heinous atrocities without a hint of doubt, should his masters command him. But let's not portray that, because that would be a downer for the average player. Therefore, in Space Marine 2, Titus is mostly portrayed as a selfless war hero instead. And I know that there is a bit more nuance to the story and the character, especially in light of the previous game, but that unfortunately doesn't matter. That's stuff for lore wonks, not your average player who might not even have played the previous game. The nuance is lost on them. And because of this, due to the satire taking a backseat, we have lunatic space Nazis made to look like heroes tirelessly fighting against a tidal wave of freaks that threaten to destroy their glorious civilization. Which is exactly how, say, white nationalists think of themselves, isn't it?
How can someone get that from Space Marine 2? I really don't know. What was he thinking? Maybe he overanalyzed the game to a point where he started filling in imaginary gaps by comparing the over-the-top, exaggerated nature of the Imperium to those horrible wankers, which doesn't even make sense in the context of the game he's talking about. I genuinely do not know how he reached that conclusion. Maybe he needs to take a break from being online because it's not good for you. Also, you should see what he said about memes. Oh boy.
There are also common image replies, most of which call for murdering someone, usually the post-author, or non-humans in general, called Xenos. Not just the evil, aggressive ones. No, literally everyone, including sentient Xenos and their civilians who would be otherwise neutral or even friendly. Just kill them all. I've also seen plenty of Warhammer memes about interracial cuckoldry, which is something far-right people online are absolutely obsessed with. Don't look it up, trust me. Now, let's stop here for a moment. Am I not taking this a bit too seriously, pointing at obvious memes and jokes below posts and pretending they're serious? I do realize these memes and replies are jokes, but often they also aren't. Now hold on, what the hell do I mean by that? How can one thing be two opposite things at the same time? I personally call such memes and jokes Schrödinger's shitpost. They are both a joke and not a joke at the same time. The meme exists in an ideological superposition until someone engages with it.
You know, I thought he would be self-aware for a second, then he doubles down. But something that worries me is that we make memes, don't we? Yeah? Does this mean we're evil? No, you stupid bellend. Our memes are wholesome, for the most part. You sure? Now don't you start analysing your own memes, otherwise you might go insane like this guy. I'm certain that if you overly analyse anything, you'll find something wrong with it eventually, and that can kill your enjoyment of your hobbies. The reason I love this hobby to bits, despite GW being greedy bellends, is that it helps massively with my mental health. I've made friends thanks to this hobby. I love building these models and playing the tabletop, especially Necromunda. And I love reading about how daft the lore is. Especially with Necromunda being absolutely insane, and I've gone off script, so my apologies. But I do feel like it's important to separate real life and Warhammer 40k. Liking the Imperium of Man doesn't make you a bad person in the same way that liking Dark Elder doesn't make you a bad person either. I could go down the list of all the factions, and there is no faction that if you like it, it automatically makes you into a bad person. Though saying that, if you're a shitty person, then you're a shitty person regardless of what faction you play, and maybe you need to work on yourself, but some of you need to realise that the internet isn't real life. Take a moment for yourself and relax, you know? You don't have to be online all the time. And there needs to be more positivity when it comes to this hobby, so please feel free to share your art, minis, memes, stories, and God knows what else you creative people can come up with. And sod anybody that chats shit. Hell, if I see it, then I might make it into a meme dub, so we all win in the end. Also, if it's a comic, then it's bonus points for me, because then I don't need to script anything. But I'll always give credit. Anyway, I feel like I've wasted too much of everyone's time, so I'm going to do something productive, which is play through Driver San Francisco and write another script later on. And also, I don't do these response videos at all, so I'm probably painfully inept at rebuttals. So I'm deeply sorry if this sounded mental. And there's no harsh feelings towards Adam, I just disagree with his points is all. But don't send hate over to him because it isn't worth it. And I tried putting my own spin on it, so I hope you enjoyed this video. There'll be a normal video soon. Oh, and one more thing. The Das Scrapyard Orc giveaway raffle is still open. Go to my affiliate link in the comments/YouTube community post to grab some dice to enter right now!